America, we have a problem, and it's bigger than a multi-polynomial. More complex and equals MC squared. America, we have a problem, and you can't find the answers in the back of the textbook.
You look at what's going on current events-wise, and it's really clear that we have not, in any way, shape, or form, moved beyond race as a huge challenge in our country. One of the saddest things in seeing the backsliding on integration and the resegregation of schools is that the achievement gap was actually narrowing and at its narrowest during the 1980s, which was the height of school integration.
And now we're at the point where we're seeing the highest levels of racial and economic segregation in decades.
Integration is a bold social justice movement because really you're trying to move whole communities and a whole society forward through the vehicle of our kids and our schools.
There's research going back 50 years to suggest that an economically disadvantaged student of whatever race will perform much better in an economically integrated school than in a higher poverty school. And at the same time, middle-class students benefit substantially from diversity. There is emerging research to suggest that diversity makes us smarter.
So as a mixed socioeconomic school, we are unusual among charters in that we are intentionally diverse. When you look at our school as a whole, we're 40% low income, we're 65% non-white. All of our students, including our students who are low income and our students who are Latino and African American, are far outperforming their peers and their counterparts in their home schools.
The hoops I had to jump through as a Black woman just to get a little respect, just to be seen as a little more Beyonce and a little less Nicki Minaj.
Just sitting in a room doesn't mean I have to talk to you, doesn't mean I have to like you, doesn't even mean I have to understand you. Most schools think about diversity and just mix some folks up and let them sit down, but they do not think about how to help students have the opportunity for academic success in a school culture whose cultural norms are middle class, working class, white, Eurocentric norms.
To be culturally responsive as a teacher in the classroom means many different things. I think it means incorporating students' backgrounds into the instruction. They do a lot of work with students coming together and talking about differences between students. So whether that be a student from a different socioeconomic background, cultural background, racial background, a special needs students, all different types of diversity, really cultivating that feeling amongst classmates that everyone is valued within the classroom, that those differences are recognized and appreciated.
Snap into an El Monte foster home slum. A room with 4 half beds with 4 other children like me, 4 hopes that one family will want them, 4 different stories. Snap.
I do believe kids sitting in classrooms with various different cultures is extremely important. It has to be with a teacher understanding and being able to say, I know who you are culturally, I understand your discussion patterns, how you communicate. I validate that you speak African American language. I validate that you speak Chicano English, because diversity is only as good as the person who stands in front of it and helps guide you and navigate you through it.
I bring in texts from all types of ethnicities, and we get to discuss how either we relate to that because we're that same ethnicity as the author or the character, or because we have experienced something similar. And if something comes out that is not as sympathetic or as aware as it could be, then the students help one another see that in a more productive way.
Look into my eyes.
I got a necklace from my girlfriend.
Snap. A picture of 2 men looking for a child to adopt.
Let me tell you who I am.
I think that the satisfaction is high among all of our families, so that's heartening and positive. But I do think we have real work to do around engagement.
One thing about Larchmont that I think is a model for a lot of other schools to think about is that we didn't approach them. Larchmont, it was parents from Larchmont that approached me and UCLA to say, we need some help around something that we're feeling. This is how we work to take forward and move and help think through the
There were a lot of school activities, picnics, and whenever we would go to those type of activities, we would always feel isolated and felt like we were forced to have to go the extra mile to connect with other parents. I think the other moms realized that something really needed to be done, and we brought Dr. Orange on to talk about different biases in schools.
To me, the ultimate goal is to mirror the work that our children do, to play with everyone and reach out to everyone, and for the parents to follow them.
Race is something that has been defined for you. Culture is your values, beliefs, and norms that you were born and raised with. Folks are very different culturally, and so they're taking the hard step to have those conversations to move forward.
That meeting was very profound and very thought-provoking, and ever since that first session, I could feel a shift in the energy. I can connect with other parents and other moms, and now I'm scheduling more play dates. I now feel like I'm a part of the community.
Larchmont Charter School, the class of 2017.
Incredibly proud of our graduating class, a third of whom are the first generation in their family to go to college. Schools like Larchmont are doing something really groundbreaking, and sadly groundbreaking, right? I mean, the vision 60 years post Brown versus Board of Education is that this would be the norm, that all of our schools and communities would be fully integrated, but it's not. Your zip code shouldn't determine your destiny.
When the ceremony is over, we'll be thrust into the future.
The number one reason people are fired on the job is not that they're incompetent. It's that they can't get along with other people.
We're sowing the seeds for a better future, for a world where there's less fear, where there's less hate, where there's less division, where there's less polarization, because there's increased ability to really listen to each other, to know and to see each other beyond whatever the visible differences might be.
Justice Thurgood Marshall said, if children do not learn together, then our society will never figure out how we can, as adults, come together.